Hi folks, so just a wee follow on for yesterday's video. I'd noticed a few things in a few of the prepper groups. Some people, not just myself, had posted about the issue with power yesterday in the NESO demand notice warning, and they were getting attacked. I don't know if attacked is right or too strong a term. They were getting an element of pushback. And the pushback was that they were fear-mongering and panic-mongering because the demand had been met from across interconnectors from Spain and that, and the Netherlands and things. Therefore, there was no problem. On one respect, that's fine. I would accept that argument with limitations. As long as those countries have available power, spare, right, then they will sell it to us and we'll pay through the nose for it. And also then we're firing up gas-fired stations in the UK who also had us over a barrel, and we were paying something like 2 million an hour extra. Now, it's not the government that's paying that, it's you and it's me, right? That's who's paying it ultimately. And inherently there was a number of factors, the main one being wind is low at the moment. So we've burned through already something like 40% of the gas reserves, and we're in 2025, we're just starting the year. So today, well, backtrack slightly, yesterday there was also some frequency warning notices. So what the power companies tend to do is if there's an issue with demand and capacity, they'll alter the frequency. So a healthy range would be something like 49.5 to 50.5 hertz. And they can go out with that margin by about 1% before there's a risk of damage to certain equipment. So what they'll do, what's it called now? LFDD, so that's low frequency demand something, can't remember. But basically there's a system in place that if the frequency drops, right, because they have to drop it because they can't meet demand, if it drops below something like 48, I've written it down, 48%, then they'll kick off 5% of the users in the UK, right? 5% is something like 950,000 people. Your power's gone, chopped, you'll be cut off. Now, there was low frequency warnings last night, about 9 o'clock. As things stand at the moment today, we're getting 45.9% of your power today from gas. Right? Wind's really, really low. So we're burning a lot of gas at the start of winter. And we're drawing, so demand at the moment is 44.8%, we're generating 42, right? So as a country, the point I'm trying to make is, as a country, we're not producing enough power to meet our needs when we need it. And being an island, we're reliant on cables and infrastructure to get extra power. Now that's great that extra power is potentially available, but in the last month we've already seen cables chopped in the Baltic, right, by accidental anchors. That could happen tomorrow. If that happens tomorrow, you've got a shortfall of 2.3 gigawatts. Just to put that in perspective, the buffer the UK has before shit starts turning off and the frequency issue becomes an issue, as in they need to start dropping it, it's 1 gigawatt. That's what your buffer is in the UK, 1 gigawatt, right? That's all they've got as a spare capacity before stuff gets turned off. So if we lose the 2.3 gigawatts from the interconnectors today, for any reason, right, 5% minimum of UK users are cut off. And you can fact check that. I encourage everybody, they should check and read into this. So what I'm basically saying is, we don't produce enough power. We're reliant on sources that we don't store enough of the excess production at the moment. By that I mean wind. yeah, it's great. We're going for low carbon footprint, although we'll not talk about how toxic the materials are to make and all the rest of it. We'll go with the great facade that it is, that it's perfect and it's the panacea. We've had issues of low wind in Europe before Christmas and after Christmas, and we're having to go back to legacy fossil fuel things. Problem with that is we've shut down most of the coal. Well, the coal ones are all gone in the UK. Gas ones have been shut off right, left and centre. So the ability to turn on power to make sure you can boil your cup of tea at night or for a cup of coffee, we're whittling that away, and we're adding more electrification to the grid, and that's in the form of air source heat pumps, electric cars. I was reading the other day alone that some of the ferries up here, they've went for electrification on them and they can't charge them, right? They don't have enough power to charge them, so they're having to run on their diesel backup generators until they can sort out the power requirements. And I thought, this is just madness, that we can't look ahead and see this could be a problem, right? On the flip side of that, like I'd alluded to yesterday, allegedly we're committing to 35 to 52 billion on improvements. And I was also doing a bit of digging and research. So in Scotland alone, there's 2 large battery banks coming online hopefully this year, which will give enough power of stored clean energy apparently for, it's like 1.3 million people for 2 hours, right? 2 hours. Because we can predict apparently how long we're going to have no wind, right? 2 hours, that's not a huge buffer, I've got to be honest. But that's the direction that we're going in. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't be producing storage and capacity, but it's a drop in the ocean. We're bringing more things on stream that require power, and we're not bringing on enough things that produce the power, right? We're just not doing it. To meet their net zero targets that they're floating, we need to be doubling the capacity of the wind turbine rate that they're talking about just now. Starting from this year, we need to be doubling it. We don't have the trained staff, we don't have the industrial capacity domestically. So I don't know how this pie in the sky stuff is going to work out. And also, when they're doing their capacity projections, they're being slightly disingenuous. They're basing their figures on the assumption that the turbines are generating 24/7, 7 days a week, right? We live in the real world, as we can see today, that there's not a lot of wind, so we're having to rely on fossil fuels and burn gas, spin a turbine, right, generate power. So we need an integrated solution, and there's not enough long-term planning in place for new pumped hydro schemes, new gas power plants, or new nuclear stations. And the ones that we have been building are so far behind it's beyond a joke, and the prices are through the roof. So yeah, this should have been a short video, but I went on for about 8 minutes. But it was really just to talk about yesterday and some of the comments that there's no problem and everything's fine. Right? That's one opinion, and perfectly entitled to it. I respectfully disagree for the reasons that I've outlined in this video, and let me know what you think, and we'll have a chat about it in the comments. Cheers guys, bye bye.
Solar panels and power banks ready to roll, packed with enough to nourish our soul. Canned beans and whiskey stashed in the back. We're leaving tonight and not coming back. We're heading for the highlands where the rivers flow, where the misty mountain air will greet us slow. Got a bug out plan and a map in hand, leaving this town, making a stand. We're heading for the highlands where the rivers flow, where the misty mountain air will greet us slow. Got a bug